Welcome to episode 26 of Inside the World of TCR. For the final time this year, our trip around the TCR world will start in Europe with the pinnacle of the TCR pyramid, WTCR, which raced in France and Russia. We'll also call in on TCR Germany and TCR Russia. Then we'll move to the USA for the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, to Asia for TCR Japan, and finally to Argentina for TCR South America. Stay with us. WTCR was in Adria in Italy for the penultimate meeting of the season. In the first race, Santiago Urrutia started from pole position but was beaten to the first corner by Esteban Gurrieri in his Honda. However, the Uruguayan was able to retake the lead before the end of the first lap, with this robust move at the final corner going down the inside of Gurrieri. On lap 10, Jean-Carl Venet, one of the title contenders, had a coming together with Nathaniel Berton while battling for 8th, which saw the Audi ending up in the tyre wall and retiring. While Urrutia pulled away and built a comfortable gap, at the end of lap 10 on the main straight, Tom Coronel managed to pass Gurrieri for second. Urrutia took his second win of the season in front of Coronel and Gurrieri. Erlaché finished only 10th but kept the lead in the driver's standings with a 21-point margin over Urrutia. In the second race, Yann Erlaché took a lights-to-flag victory, the second win of the season for the Frenchman. Frédéric Verviche was second in front of Jules Magnus. Muller was 4th, and Tarquini, just after announcing his retirement at the end of the season, ended 5th after starting 12th. Erlaché extended his lead to 37 points over Verviche, with Esteban Gurrieri 1 point further behind after finishing 6th in the race. Sochi in Russia then hosted the season finale at the end of November. At the start of the first race on a very wet track, Venet had the best reflex from P3 on the grid and led from pole sitter Magnus. Behind them, Gurrieri tried to pass Verviche for P3 on the outside of turn 4, but lost control and crashed into the wall. The safety car was deployed to recover the Honda. On the last lap, Michael Adkiner passed Venet into turn 5 and went on to win. With a 1.4 second margin over the Frenchman, Verviche completed the podium, ahead of the other Audi cars of his teammates Magnus and Berton. Yann Erlaché finished 6th and so secured a second consecutive WTCR title at the end of a season which was extremely tight, with several drivers in contention for the crown until the very end. In the last race of the season, Rob Huff started from 5th and repeated the success of his teammate Michael Adkiner, grabbing the win and presenting Zengo Motorsport and Cupra with their second victory of the day. The Brit won in front of Verviche and Berton. Tassi was 4th, Venet 5th and Erlaché 6th. The joy for the Zengo team was immense. In the championship standings, Verviche finished 2nd behind Erlaché, with Venet 3rd. The TCR Germany season finale took place at the Nürburgring. In the first race, Martin Andersson made good use of pole position to keep a charging Marcel Fugel at bay. Eric Scalvini and Nico Gruber followed in 3rd and 4th, while Dominic Fugel made a great getaway, moving up from P8 on the grid to 5th. On lap 2, Dominic Fugel took to the inside of Eric Scalvini, who closed the gap. Their cars made contact and Scalvini spun, rejoining in 12th position. The stewards judged Fugel to be guilty for the incident and imposed a drive-through penalty that Fugel served on lap 12, dropping to 8th. On lap 18, there was this contact between Marcel Fugel and Nico Gruber while battling for 2nd. The Hyundai punted Fugel's Honda into a half spin, but the positions didn't change, and Fugel managed to retain 2nd place until the end. So this was how Martin Andersson claimed his maiden victory in TCR Germany. The Dane moved up to 2nd in the standings behind Engstler, who'd already secured the title in the penultimate event and didn't participate in the season finale. In race 2, Andersson, starting again from pole, led the field away. Despite being first to turn 1, he was hit by the Honda Civic of Marcel Fugel and half spun, dropping to the back of the field, while Robin Jahr also dropped several places after being forced to run wide to avoid Andersson's car. Marcel Fugel was swiftly handed a drive-through penalty for causing the collision. Andersson then desperately started a recovery to defend his 2nd position in the championship. And on the very last lap, he managed to pass Legutko for 5th, grabbing the necessary points, with Jonas Karklis also passing Simon Ladniak to take the win. For Karklis, this was his maiden victory in TCR Germany. Ladniak and Gruber completed the podium in 2nd and 3rd, and Dominic Fugel was 4th. Anderson's 5th place meant he outscored Dominic Fugel by a single point in the fight for P2 in the driver's standings. The IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge was at Road Atlanta for the season finale. Tim Lewis drove his KMW Motorsports Alfa Romeo Giulietta Veloce through a high-speed traffic jam in the last 20 minutes of competition to record the TCR class victory. The Honda Civic, shared by Tyler Stone and Ryan Eversley, emerged from a last-lap scramble to finish second in the race, beating the Hyundai Veloster of Tyler Maxson and Tyler Gonzalez by just 1/10, while the Hyundai Elantra of Parker Chase and Ryan Norman finished 4th, 2 further tenths behind and 2 tenths ahead of Hagler and Lewis. And so Chase wound up second in the final standings. With their second win of the season, Lewis and co-driver Roy Block went from 7th to 3rd in the standings, while Taylor Hagler and Michael Lewis, sharing a Hyundai Veloster N, finished 5th in the race and so clinched the TCR Championship title. Suzuka hosted the TCR Japan season finale. At the start of the Saturday Series race, Inotsume had a better getaway from P2 on the grid than pole sitter Hirobon, but the latter took the lead into turn 1 by using the outside line. Nevertheless, Hirobon was given a drive-through for jumping the start and so dropped to 8th. Shioya won the race in front of Inotsume and Kato, who finished as runner-up in the Saturday Series Championship after Hirobon had clinched the title at the penultimate event. In the Sunday Series race, after dominating the qualifying on a wet track, Hirobon made good use of pole position to lead the field at the start, ahead of Kato and Okura. Mastering his Cupra on a surface that was still slippery after the morning shower, Hirobon had built a 5.3-second margin at the end of the first lap, while Kato retook second position from Shioya. As the track dried, Kato increased his pace and cut down on the leader's advantage, but Hirobon comfortably controlled the situation and took his 5th victory of the season ahead of Kato and Shioya. In the final standings of the Sunday Series, Hirobon edged out Kato by 26 points, adding the title to the Saturday Series crown he'd already won. The duel for the title between Kirill Ladygin and Dmitry Bragin in TCR Russia was decided at the season finale in Sochi. The start of the first race was chaotic, with pole sitter Urutsev, Mityayev and Bragin negotiating the first turn 3 abreast ahead of the charging field. A few hundred metres down the track, Artem Slutsky ran wide and rejoined. His manoeuvre forced Bragin to swerve to the right and make contact with Pavel Kalmanovic. Bragin's Audi spun off and crashed backwards into the tyre wall. Bragin managed to rejoin, but his chances of grabbing the title were effectively over. Mityayev went on to claim his 2nd win of the season from Urutsev and Artem Slutsky, who finished on the podium for the first time on only his 2nd appearance in the championship. Ladygin was classified 4th and so secured the title with 1 race still remaining. The start of the second race was again very close, with Fokin leading and Bragin, who started 5th, already 2nd going into turn 2, but he collided with Artem Slutsky and went wide. Slutsky soon retired because of the crash, while Kalmanovic emerged as the leader and managed to control a charging Bragin throughout the race. Kalmanovic won the race, his 3rd victory this season, while Bragin was 2nd and Mityayev completed the podium. Bragin secured 2nd place in the standings behind Ladygin, while Mityayev's 3rd position enabled the Lada Sport driver to complete the championship podium 3 points ahead of Maslenikov. TCR South America raced in Rio Cuarto in Argentina for the 5th event of the season. Ever Franetovic, driving a Link & Co and debuting in the series, got away cleanly at the start of the first race, while behind him Bessone, Fluker, Sapag and Marquez were fighting for P2. Bessone went wide onto the grass at turn 2 and rejoined in 10th place, while Pepe Oriola benefited from the situation and moved up to 3rd. As a light rain began to fall, Fluker and Oriola closed in on Franetovic, and on lap 10, Oriola overtook Fluker for 2nd. Then Oriola and Fluker began pressuring Franetovic through every corner, but the Argentinian strenuously defended his lead. Franetovic took his maiden win in the championship, the first for an Argentinian driver in TCR South America. Behind him, Fluker pipped Oriola at the last turn to finish 2nd. Sapag ended up 4th in front of Reis and Marquez. At the start of the second race, both Roy Bloch and Adalberto Baptista, who shared the front row, had a slow getaway. Oriola and his teammate Reis managed to pass. However, Rodrigo Baptista hit the back of Reis's Honda, triggering a chain reaction, which also involved Oriola and Sapag. The latter remained stranded in the gravel, prompting the safety car into action. On lap 5, touring car action at its best thrilled the spectators. The top 4 cars all arrived together into turn 1. Fluker and Frenetovic took advantage from the battle between Marquez and Bessone to pass them both on the inside. Fluker managed to reject Frenetovic's attacks and eventually built a gap of a few seconds over the last few laps, on his way to claim his maiden win, ahead of Frenetovic and Bessone. Oriola's 4th place put the Spaniard back on top of the drivers' standings. TCR South America then remained in Argentina, moving to Buenos Aires for the following meeting, the second endurance race of the season. 13 cars were on the grid, with some international touring car stars like Esteban Guerrieri, Nestor Girolami and Tom Coronel joining the battle. The rolling start saw pole sitter Matias Mia leading the field in front of Sapag and Girolami. Girolami quickly moved into P2 and then snatched the lead from Mia on lap 3 with this overtaking manoeuvre into turn 1. Pit stops began on lap 15 and Sapag was the first of the top drivers to hand his car to his teammate Guerrieri. The second part of the race began with Reis in the lead, a few seconds ahead of Rosso and Guerrieri. There were no further changes, and Reis took the checkered flag in front of Rosso, with Guerrieri in 3rd position. Coronel, Oriola and Bessone followed, filling the positions from 4th to 6th. Reis relaunched his bid for the title, reducing his gap from the leader and teammate Oriola to 16 points, while Rodrigo Baptista remains in 2nd position, exactly halfway between the pair. That was Inside the World of TCR episode 26, our last of 2021. Another great season for TCR series all around the world. Thanks for watching this year, and from me and the team, it's goodbye.